G'day guys, welcome to the channel. I'm a normal human and today we'll be playing Electrician Simulator. Being an electrician myself, I figured we'd play this game, I'd give it sort of a review and see how accurate it is to real life. Right, let's jump in. Right, so first thing we need to do is sell all the junk in the garage so that we have some startup funds so that we can go out and do some work. Alrighty, and dear old dad has left the password to his laptop, just written down on the back of a sticky note. Alrighty, first job for Alexander Castillo, darkness in the bathroom. I wanted to turn the bathroom light on and it didn't work. I'm an old man and it is really difficult to take a bath in the dark. I hope that repairing the light switch will not be a big problem. I'm not a rich man and can't offer much for the job, but I hope you help me anyway. Right, let's take that job. So this is actually a very common call that you'll get from customers is light switch doesn't work. In Australia, the common causes of this are usually just the switch mechanism wearing out because there's only like two little plastic tabs on the side that hold the switch plate onto the mechanism. That can wear out and it starts to pop out. And if it comes out completely, then you have bare terminals, which is not good. The other cause is, and this is probably the more common one, is that the more you switch a switch, every time the contacts get close to each other, there's a little bit of arcing between them. And that causes carbonization build up on both surfaces. And eventually, if it does that enough, when the contacts close, there's not actually metal touching each other, and it doesn't turn on. So, yeah, we'll go see what his problem is. Alright, before we head off, we'll check what items we need to take with us. We need one screwdriver. Righto, let's get one screwdriver. Alright, here we are on site at the first house. Now you notice in the objectives up in the top corner here, it wants us to turn the fuse off. Now, I probably wouldn't just go straight to the fuse and turn it off. The first thing you would do when you get to a customer's house is talk to the customer. Find out what the problem is, when it happened, is it still happening, is it intermittent? You know, try and get as much information out of the customer as you can. The second thing I would do is I would actually go and test the switch myself. Don't just believe the customer when they say it's not working, because, well, it might not have been working when they tested it, it might be working now. If it's working now and not when they tested it, that means you've got a bigger issue because you have an intermittent fault, not a hard fault. So let's actually go test the switch first. Right, not working. Okay, we've got another switch here, which, yep, does the room lights. So he does have some light in here, so this one must be for the vanity light. Right, okay, now we'll go turn the power off. And remember, always turn the power off before you touch anything. In fact, don't touch anything. Get a licensed professional to touch the things. Alright, we can see none of the fuses are actually labelled with any relevant information as to what goes where, so what we will do is just turn off the mains fuse, and that way everything's off and we don't have to worry about which circuit's which. Alright, let's get this frame off, take these screws out. Alrighty, so what do we got here? We have what looks like, yeah, okay, a twin active cable with red and black. Okay, so, oh yep, they go in here. Take that screw out, connect it. Oh, this nice, tells you which one is the line side and which side is the switched active side. Right, well, looks like we can put this back together and then go and test it. Alrighty, and the last thing you do is turn the circuit back on and test it to make sure you've actually fixed the problem. Look at that, light's working. Bob's your uncle. Alright, that's first job down. What have we got next? Joey Thomas, battery in my controller. Hello sir, found this old console in my grandpa's house. I wanted to play it, but the controller doesn't work. Can you help me? My dad told me that the battery in the controller is wrong. Can you fix it, sir? I don't have money, so I can't give you anything, but please help. I want to play some games. I have a feeling he means the battery in the controller is wrong. Now, your average electrician in Australia probably isn't going to know how to fix small electronics like this. It's not something they do. There are a few guys that will delve into this sort of thing, but it's not something that I would expect out of your average electrician. I don't know if it's like that over in Europe or in the States, but definitely in Australia, it's not something to expect from your average electrician. Probably just speed through these microelectronics bits, mostly because I don't have much to add to it, because I'm not one of those guys that pulls apart electronics. Okay, let's see, take the back case screws off. Back case is off, front case is off, buttons are off, button rubbers are off, battery's unplugged, and we've disassembled the entire thing, and as you can see, the controller battery is dead, so little Joey was right, it was the battery. Let's replace that, and let's start putting it back together. There's the board, battery link, button pads back on, buttons, front case, back screws in, test device, test's good, bing bang boom, little Joey's got his controller back. Alright, what do we got now? Nuru Tematope. Are these sockets okay? Good morning, I'm new in this town. I haven't had a chance to unpack yet, but there's already one thing bothering me. There are lots of outlets in my new house, but many of them aren't working. I can't watch TV and I can't turn on the lamp in the bedroom. I guess I know now why this house was so cheap. This can happen. It's not a hugely common occurrence for someone to buy a house and power points don't work. Sometimes the building electrician is cheap or dodgy or just doesn't care, and they don't bother testing all of the outlets once they fit them off, and they just sign off on the house saying, yep, it all works, and the building gets sold. Otherwise, the more common occurrence is in a existing house, a customer will ring you up and say that, you know, a certain amount of power points aren't working. And generally, if you've got multiple power points that aren't working, it probably means there's something wrong with the circuit. And the first thing you would do is go to your switchboard and see if any circuit breakers or fuses have blown or turned off, and you would turn them back on and see if that fixes the problem. Right, so the first thing I would do if I got to a customer's house and they're saying multiple power points aren't working is, number one, which power points aren't working, and number two, I would actually test the outlet myself, same as we tested the switch in the previous job. The reason you would test the outlet itself is, particularly in Australia, where our power points look like this, we have isolation switches on the power points. You will be surprised how many people don't turn the isolation switch on and then complain that something doesn't work, particularly TVs and things like that. So yeah, I would take a voltmeter, I would go to the outlets and see if they're actually pushing out the right voltage before you go to the switchboard and turn it off and start pulling it apart. However, in this game, it's already told us that they're broken, we need to fix them, so we'll turn the power off, pull them apart and find out why. Mains fuse off. Right, let's get this cover off. And there we have it. Line, neutral, protective earth are all not connected. So let's get these terminal screws open. Yep, tells us where they go. Screws back in. And the earth. Never forget your protective earth. Now I've noticed that all of the outlets and switches have this wall box. That's not a typical thing you'll find in Australia. We just cut a hole in the gyprock wall, or the plasterboard wall, and we just have a bracket behind it that was put in when the house was built. Or there's plasterboard clips you can get for new holes where you just seat them behind the hole and then you screw the new switch or power point to that, because all of our switches and power points are a standardized size, which by the looks of it, these all have a standardized size as well. So yeah, you typically won't find a wall box behind things unless they've been recessed into a brick wall or something, or if the house is particularly old, like about 100 years old, you will find steel wall boxes because everything was done in steel conduit at that time. Right, that's back together. Let's check another outlet. Right, frame off, and yep, cables aren't connected again. So I would put this down to probably dodgy electrician or lazy electrician that just didn't bother testing that everything was hooked up, or just didn't even care that it was hooked up, and in this case just slapped everything on the wall and wanted to get paid for it. Alright, done. Put back together. I have a feeling our third outlet is going to be the same, except this one's a little different. It's a double outlet. Screws out, frame off, there we have it. Cable's not connected again. Now of course the last thing we do, turn the power back on and test it to make sure it's still working. Alright, plug the telly in, turn it on, working. Lamp in, on, working. Turn them off so we don't waste electricity. Now it doesn't get us to test this last one. So what you would do if you don't have something to plug into the outlet to test it is you would get an outlet tester. It would look something like this. You would plug it into the outlet and it's got these lights on it and a legend that tells you what these lights mean, and it'll tell you if you've connected the wires in the wrong spots. You would probably also get a voltmeter and go around and test that they are still putting out the correct voltage as well. Alright, we might leave it there for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave a comment below on anything you think I can do to improve my videos, or if you think I got something wrong, or if you want me to explain something a bit more. Leave everything in the comments below and I'll catch you next time. See ya.